There exist in the ancient Christian world many profound stories of long, lasting friendships. Today we're going to talk about one of them between a wise old monk and a wild lion. It is a part of being a Christian that we love the natural world because we see the beauty of God written across everything. As St. John Damascene once said, the entire world is a living icon of the face of God. And as St. Gabriela said, when you love everything, everything is beautiful. So of course Christians have extra reason to love the animals. And when you look through history at the lives of the saints, and especially monastic saints and monastics today, you'll find a lot of stories of friendship between these holy people and the animals. St. Isaac the Syrian once wrote that after the fall, animals could no longer recognize mankind, but now that Christ has come and redeemed mankind, animals once again feel a familiarity and a closeness with holy people. So the more at peace a person is with God, the more at peace with that person will the animals be. One such person that was close at peace with God was Saint Gerasimus of the Jordan. Gerasimus was the much-loved abbot of a small monastic community in the Middle East. He was a man of deep prayer, deep asceticism, and deep love for everyone and everything. He got along well with animals, and animals got along well with him. One day when Gerasimus was outside the monastery, a lion came out from the wilderness towards him. The lion was limping, and as it got closer to Gerasimus, it sat down and lifted its paw. And in its paw was wedged a large splinter of wood, and it was hurting the lion terribly. Gerasimus gently and carefully withdrew the splinter, put balm on the wound, and bandaged up the paw. He prayed for the lion and encouraged the lion to go out into the wilderness. Gerasimus smiled and walked back to the monastery. The lion wouldn't leave. The lion followed him all the way into the monastery, and though the monks tried to encourage him that he was free and that he should go back into the wilderness, the lion had found its new home, and the monks all together decided to keep him. The lion was very friendly and quickly earned the trust of the entire monastery. He became the official guard for the monastery's other animal, a donkey. Every morning the lion's job was to take the donkey's bridle and lead the donkey down to the Jordan River, where the donkey could drink water and graze for a while the lion kept watch. Then in the afternoon one of the monks would head down to the waterside, collect water for the monastery, load it up on the donkey, and then donkey with lion and monk beside him would walk back to the monastery. One day, the lion came home looking rather dejected without the donkey, and the only thought they could have is that the lion had given into temptation and eaten their donkey. So the lion was given a punishment, that the lion would now have to do the job of the donkey and carry water back to the monastery every single day. And the lion did this. Only the donkey had not been eaten. And a couple of months later, the lion, there by the riverbank having a rest, noticed the traders that had stolen the donkey all those months before. The lion ran in amongst the traders. The men all fled as he grabbed the bridle of the donkey, the way he had been doing before, and he led the donkey back to the monastery. When the brothers saw the lion coming with the donkey that they all recognized, and then they saw the traders and the camels running after him trying to get the donkey back, the monks quickly realized how much they had mistrusted their loyal companion. Gerasimus named the lion after the Jordan River, and he and the other monks decided that the monastic duties of this creature were over. They encouraged Jordan the lion to head back into the wilderness where he was truly at home. And even though Jordan left the regular duties of the monastery, he never really left the community. He would visit every few days or every few weeks to check on his friends and spend a little bit of time with Saint Gerasimus. Eventually, between these visits, the good abbot died. His brothers buried him and mourned him, and then Jordan the lion turned up looking for his friend. He couldn't find him anywhere, and he was very confused. He went back and forth across the monastery with the monks behind him trying to work out, how do we tell the lion what has happened? How do we tell an animal about the death of a human being? And they tried to feed him, they tried to let him lie down, and he wouldn't. He kept crying and going back and forth around the monastery trying to find Gerasimus. Eventually one of the brothers took him by the mane and led him to the graveside. And the lion realized where Gerasimus was. And according to the story, the lion lay down on the grave, fell asleep, and died in his sleep, there at the grave of his friend. This story was much loved and very widely told within a very short space of it happening. A few centuries later, due to some language issues, the story got connected with a different saint. The name Gerasimus sounds very similar to Geronimus, also known as Saint Jerome. This saint lived not far away from where this story took place, and so in the West the two stories converged, and Saint Jerome is often portrayed with a lion. However, in the Eastern Orthodox world, the story of Saint Gerasimus and the lion continue to be told as it has been since the event happened all those centuries ago. The monastery of Saint Gerasimus continued operations for another 200 years until invasions destroyed it. A couple of hundred years after that, it was rebuilt, and then through history went through various stages of being built and rebuilt after different disasters. At this current time, the monastery of St. Gerasimus has been operating consistently since the 19th century, even though many of the buildings of the monastery date all the way back to the 12th century. The monks of St. Gerasimus Monastery continue to lovingly retell the story of their founder, St. Gerasimus, and his very unlikely friend, Jordan the Lion. It's a story that encourages and reminds us of the beauty that can exist when man is at peace with Christ. It shows that restoration of peace with Christ doesn't just affect us and our relationship with Him in the human heart, but it affects our relationship with all of creation and the animal kingdom. Metropolitan Tryphon in the 1930s wrote a beautiful prayer known as the Akathist in praise of God's creation, and it includes the following line: "Glory for the people your providence gave me to meet. Glory to you for the love of my dear ones, the faithfulness of friends. Glory to you for the gentleness of the animals which serve me." I think that's our first real animal-themed episode of the show. It is a really lovely story that always makes me happy, so it's been a pleasure being able to share that with you. It's accompanied with a cup of pomegranate tea. It has pomegranate and I think some apple and hibiscus inside as well, and it's not too bad.